What's up, everyone? This is Bill. Today I'm over here at Trail Performance, located here in Vancouver, Washington, and I'm here with Joe Moore. Joe Moore is the owner of Trail Performance, and we are here with the Can-Am Ryker, and we have test results for the exhaust and his intake system. So I'll let Joe talk about the dyno results and what all we had to do to get it on the dyno. So here's Joe.
Hey guys, so these things were quite a bit of work to get on the dyno, figure out how to actually make power with it, because the way the factory ECU works, it has a lot of traction control and ABS, so as soon as you would put it on a roller, even with it being in sport mode with the traction control off, it would still freak out and throw codes and go into limp mode. So we had to do quite a bit to get that worked out and figure out how to get around that. We spent almost 2 weeks straight trying to get it figured out. Finally got it figured out by having to have the computer hooked up with the bud system. Then we were able to get it to work. So from there, we started out doing a back-to-back test, pretty much all within, I think, about 4 hours is about where we were at once we got it figured out how to get it on the dyno and be able to do a pull. Started completely stock tuning, and then we swapped out to our exhaust, and then from there we did an install with our intake on it and got all the back-to-back numbers. The only one we didn't do was stock exhaust with the intake, but I mean the gain should be the same with doing, you know, the exhaust with intake. So yeah.
I'll let Joe take it over and talk about the weight differences between the exhaust, his exhaust versus stock exhaust. So, and the power difference versus stock exhaust as well. And then, of course, we have that intake on there as well. Right. So I'll let Joe take it over from here.
Yeah, and then the other thing I wanted to show you guys too is just the quality difference from ours to the factory one. So this one is still, it was our prototype one. It is used because we did put it on there to do some testing. But I mean, as far as everything's TIG welded, all stainless versus, you know, these big nasty MIG welds that can rust and look poopy compared to, you know, our welds that we have here, and even, you know, on here, like everything looks pretty nice and pretty. So, and then from there, we'll just get to the weight difference. So start with the factory one. Oh, I gotta turn on the scale, zero it out. All right, so we're 0.
Okay. So we're at 23, 1
Yep.
on that one. So 23 pounds.
Yep.
And the new Trail Performance exhaust, we're at 12 pounds.
Yeah.
So 11.
Yeah, so we're 11-pound difference. If you take the weight difference also with our intake on there, the factory whole intake system is 6 pounds. Our intake system is 2 pounds, so it's another 4-pound difference. So between the two, we're 15 pounds, which would be roughly like 2.5% reduction in weight. Then also between the power difference with the intake and exhaust was 13.8 horsepower, which is like a 21% power increase, which is pretty good off of 2 months.
Yeah. So. Okay, so there's that. Now we do have video footage of the bike on the dyno, so we can show that.
Alright, we just got done dynoing Bill's Ryker here. Has our exhaust on it, along with our intake on it. And we did a back-to-back test on the dyno here at PowerTune. We did the exhaust first, and then installed the intake. Obviously, pretty much all stock first, and then the intake stock. We got it to, it was 67.9. With the exhaust on, went to 75.2, and then adding the intake from stock intake to our intake, then 81.7. And all this was done at about 83 miles an hour. So it looks like it was right about 60 foot-pounds with the intake and exhaust. Stock was, looks like probably 52 foot-pounds of torque. So, and this is all still done on the stock tuning.
Okay, so here's the dyno numbers. It goes over them pretty quickly in this video clip, so I've added a second video clip. Stock, the bike made 67.9 horsepower to the wheels. We added the exhaust. It made 75.2 horsepower to the wheels. That's a 7.3 horsepower gain. The intake and exhaust made 81.7 horsepower. The intake added us 6.5 wheel horsepower. That's a 13.8 horsepower gain to the back tire. Okay, so this intake system can be purchased on Trail Performance website for $295. I'll let you take a look at the intake system here. The exhaust system can be purchased for $625. Okay, this is a high performance muffler, not a dirt bike exhaust modified to fit the Ryker. This thing has a deep rumble to it, but it is not extremely loud and high pitch. Everything is TIG welded in-house at Trail Performance's shop here in Vancouver, Washington. Okay, so now I'm going to let you hear some sound clips of the different exhaust setups compared to stock. Ready? Trail Performance gear and get yourself an intake and exhaust for the Can-Am Ryker. This will fit the Rally or the 900. You guys have a good day. Don't forget